So the school is teaching my kid HTML and CSS.
Mm-hmm.
See, that would be a good thing if they bothered to teach her anything else with the computer first.
Oh, but
They didn't teach her
you
what an
basic
operating system is. They don't teach her how to use it, any typing or anything. They didn't teach her anything about files, file management, file structure, how to do anything with it. They had given them iPads in the past, and all of a sudden they plopped her in front of a computer, told her about like spam and phishing and stuff like that, and then decided to throw her into coding in HTML. What the fuck? I feel like they skipped a shit ton of stuff that's actually important to learn, and then just threw them into something that's fun to know. But with CMSs, it's fucking useless.
So I
teach
mean,
them fucking basic.
Was she able to choose that class, or was that just hoisted upon her? Or?
Middle school, she doesn't get to choose classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is the name of this class?
DLCS.
What does that mean?
I have no idea. They don't tell you what that means.
Something computer science?
I guess. But yeah, that's like I said. They all know how to use an iPad because they're just given an iPad and to use, and then they pop them in front of a computer and they're like, "Here, this is all the bad stuff that's out there. Now create a web page." The final project for the class is creating a web page using, what is it? They got to insert a picture, do a header, subheader, change the different types of fonts and different types of colors fonts.
I mean, I guess it's cool to get. Maybe that helps to get kids interested in computer science, but that's not what I would choose.
I remember having to teach myself that crap in high school, so
I learned it on my own.
Yeah,
that's it. Not in high school. High school, we didn't have anything. I think we had basic word processing programs. Like I had Pro, Excel, and then whatever the hell fucking Mac programs that they had.
I got lucky with my high school, and we actually had a computer science course. Granted, it was C++, but I was still able to, learn C++ and then also teach myself HTML, which, yeah.
It looks like it stands for Digital Literacy and Computer Science. I Googled it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I would think like basic IT stuff would be more important than learning how to build a web page. Like just learning about security, networking, things like that.
90% of people don't give a crap how the things that they have in their hands work. And these schools are teaching for 90% of people. You can interest a kid in making their own content and things like that, but convincing them that they need to learn how a computer works is a little bit more difficult.
Well, at least learn like basic, digital hygiene, safe security practices, the danger of IoT devices and stuff like that.
You would also assume that back in the day we'd have learned how to, balance a checkbook, but they don't teach that crap.
Yeah.
It's basic math. That's all that is.
Well, yeah.
That's I don't think they had a class for that. That was called math class, and that was like addition and subtraction. That's not advanced math here.
And
but there should be a financial class though.
I think I did
a finance class.
I think I did take one.
You were lucky then.
I think
teach you about credit and all that stuff.
Your schools are actually allergic to anything practical.
That's a very fair point. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe how many people I've run into over the years when it comes to helping them out with their computers and stuff who have no basic knowledge of just a fucking file manager. Teach them copy and paste, for God's sakes. There's some people who don't even understand copy and paste. I think the kids.
Well, just think about how many people don't even use an actual regular computer nowadays. Everybody uses their cell phones unless they are in a job where they have to use a computer. They're probably not going to use one. That's probably why they don't know that stuff. Like
Yeah,
my mom,
well,
I got her
still-
a great. I got
still
my
you-
mom an awesome laptop, and it was expensive, and it was super fast and secure, and she never used it. She's always on her cell phone.
But you still need to know how to use a fucking file manager just to be able to know how to move your pictures around.
I agree.
Where your pictures are. I know all Apple products. You have no idea where the fuck anything is in the first place between the Google Cloud and the actual device. It's never clearly any place. I tried updating a friend of mine's was a MacBook Air or something like that, and they're like, all right, it doesn't have enough space to do the update. And I went onto their file manager just to figure out what's there. I had no idea what the fuck was actually on the device, in the fucking cloud, or wherever. I had no idea where the stuff is that I had to delete just so they can do the fucking update. But teach them how to use a file manager. Know where stuff is on a computer. Know where to go on a computer. Know how to use it. Teach them how to use an actual fucking keyboard besides a touchscreen keyboard for once.
Everybody should teach their children how to delete system32.dll. Just automatically, as soon as you sit down, delete system32.dll.
I don't know, and you're right. I can kind of understand. I can understand that they're doing something that's creative, that they can learn how to create a static web page. And you want to talk about. I mean, in my opinion, knowing the basics about a computer is going to be a lot more useful than learning how to make a static HTML web page, because nobody does that.
Right.
It's all CMSs.
But they don't get the gratification of seeing their web page hosted versus copy, paste, open a file manager, learning about ad blocking, things like that. They do need. I agree with Joe though about the balancing and checkbook, which is such an old reference. Nobody's under the age of 30 is going to even know what that means. But they do need some kind of at least basic financial literacy class. About predatory lending, how to use credit cards, and how not to use credit cards, and things like that.
Wait a minute.
Oh, here we go.
The thing is, it's like if they were actually looking for practical stuff, they would also be showing kids how nasty state lottery stuff is, and a lot of there is a large movement to make kids unaware of things that industry can profit on. Credit cards, student loan hell.
Yeah, that's another good one, student loans.
And all of this practical stuff, I mean, how many kids learn how to drive but don't know how to change a tire or check the oil? In fact, some cars don't even have dipsticks anymore.
Sure they do. They're just the ones behind the wheel.
Oh, you stole my joke, you bastard.
No, I'm just saying that they're all electric instead of, the basic stuff. But the schools are allergic to doing anything that could actually make the kids think about what they're doing. The HTML with CSS is like an art class, and it's just that artificial. It is what it is, and they don't want to connect it to anything actually that they useful or real.
Did you see my title for this segment in the show notes?
Old men yell at computer class. I don't know. I feel like I could probably go on and on about everything
course.
that's just absolutely fucking horrible with the educational system.
I'm sure if Eric was here, he would join in.
Yeah, well, I was a C student till I got to junior high school, and then I was an A student in anything that I actually did the work on. I didn't get smarter. I just optimized myself to put a test full of information in my head, take the test, get the A, move on to the next thing. I didn't actually learn shit, but the school was not about teaching people to actually learn shit because they never reviewed anything. They told you exactly what was going to be on the exam. This was great in high school. When I went to college, it was a disaster. However, I understand if I'd gone to junior college or gone into teaching, they would have continued this standard of telling you everything's going to be on the exam. To tell you, a few years ago, Massachusetts took people who had been certified by teaching colleges as teachers ready to, these were turnkey teachers ready to step into the classroom. And they gave them their first cold exam on general subjects and on their subject topic areas. And they got a 50% failure rate. Because the teachers were not taught they were taught how to pass the exams, they were not taught how to remember anything.
Well, all the teacher needs is the book, and then tell them to read these pages, and then most of the time the tests are already pre-made tests. They're not coming up with information, and they just hand it to them, and that's about it. You have an answer sheet, and they have the book with all the answers in it, and then they just use that to grade the tests. It's not like they have to actually have any of the knowledge.
Yeah, but it's good if they do because they can explain things to you without reading out of a book, Concepts
I'm not arguing that's good. I'm just telling you what it is.
Massachusetts has their own private GED equivalent that's a secret exam that first high school students have to pass this exam to get a diploma.
No, we got rid of it.
What? You did
get rid of
it?
The MCAST. The MCAST was this last election. We got rid of the MCAST.
Outstanding, because because the deal is the MCAST was also an exam where they would keep changing it as soon as people started passing it. They would be adding new stuff because they were not failing enough people on the MCAS.
That in schools only taught they only taught to the MCAST. That's it. If stuff wasn't on the MCAST, then they did not teach it, or it was not a priority to teach at all.
Which means your art, music, and anything like that was not on the MCAS, so that got shit canned.
Well, I mean, even like I want to say when my daughter was younger, she needed help with reading, and they pulled her out of like social studies or science, because that part wasn't part of the MCAS, so they were able to pull her out of that for the reading. I think when she was younger, the only thing that was on the MCAS was reading and math. So if it wasn't reading or math, it was fine if they missed it, or it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, a state-specific general exam that can't be compared against any other state, give me a break.
Yeah, that's why I was happy that they got rid of it. I mean, just it was a stupid idea. I was lucky when I went through school that they just started. The year I graduated was like one of the first years that they started testing all that stuff to see whether they wanted to use it. So I didn't have to take it.
Actually, and the one thing that the schools are afraid of is somebody taking a GED exam and finding out how shitty their high school education actually is.
I always think it's funny that I would like my kids to go to something like a tech school just so they can leave, get their high school diploma and actually have some sort of a skill when they leave school, because high school is geared just towards trying to push you to college. So it's not towards anything in particular. It's just so that you can go to college and learn more shit that you don't fucking need or will ever use, but you can have a piece of paper. That's it. Just you can have a little piece of paper that says that you went to college. That's all it is.
Oh, I recently saw a Jim Croce talking about his history. And he was in the 60s. He got a liberal arts education. And he said he went to college, and he said, yes, I went to college and I was prepared for the 12th century, classical English, classical languages, whatever, but nothing that would actually be useful even in the 60s. Anyway, now that we've got the teachers' unions against us, let's move on to something interesting.